Okay, my name is Marissa and I'm going to show you how to make this cute bracelet here. And I did make that with one needle, but for this tutorial, for today, I'm gonna use 2 needles. So put a comfortable amount of thread on 2 needles. And I'm using the size 8 dragon thread in white. And I had a small piece already attached to my needle, so I will have to add thread later on. But you can start with like maybe a 5-foot piece. All right, so for my first step, I got 6 11-0s, well, 5 11-0s, and then I picked up one more and I crossed through it. So I have a little loop, and this little loop is going to be for my jump ring, because I am going to add jump rings to this bracelet to attach my clasp. So again, 5 11-0s, I picked up my 6th one and I crossed through it, so I'm coming out of that 6th one. So now I'm going to jump into my design. Coming out of this 11-0, 2 of my threads, see, I'm going to pick up a 15-0 on each needle. I'm going to pick up my first SuperDuo, and one needle is going to go through one hole, and then my other needle through the other hole, and I'm going to pull and make sure everything is still at the center. All right, so now here's my loop, here's my 11-0, my 2 15-0s, and I've gone through my SuperDuo. So now I'm going to add these same beads, without the loop of course, but these 3 beads, which are a 15-0 on each needle, 15 on each needle, and then an 11-0, and I'm going to cross through my 11-0. So that will decorate the other side of my SuperDuo. All right, now coming out of my SuperDuo, I'm going to add a 15-0 on each needle, and then I'm going to cross through one of these little 1.5 by 2 millimeter rondelles. So I have a 15-0 on each needle, and then I'm picking up my little rondelle and I'm crossing through my rondelle. Now, just gonna fix everything here. Now, once I'm coming out of my rondelle, I'm going to start adding my SuperDuos. So on each needle, I'm going to pick up an 11. Okay, I'm going to do my left needle first. An 11-0, a SuperDuo, a 15-0, a SuperDuo, a 15-0, a third SuperDuo, and an 11-0. Okay, so on one needle I have an 11-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo, and an 11-0. And then on this side I'm going to do the same thing. Coming out of my rondelle, it's going to be 11-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo, and then an 11-0. And now the bead we're going to cross through is going to be another rondelle. So it's a 1.5 by 2 millimeter rondelle. And I'm using the crystal Labrador. So I picked that up on one needle and I'm going to cross with my other needle. So this is what I have. So you're picking up an 11-0 with 3 SuperDuos. Separating the SuperDuos are going to be 15-0s. And then when you come out of the SuperDuo, it's going to be an 11-0 on each side, crossing through a rondelle. And when we're coming out through our rondelle again, it's going to be, we're going to pick up of 15-0 on each needle. Again, 15-0 on each needle coming out of my rondelle, and we're going to cross through an 11-0. So we have decorated the outside of this little rondelle, and then now we're ready to pick up our black SuperDuo again. Now you don't have to use 2 different colors of SuperDuos, but I am. So I'm coming out of my 11-0. I'm going to pick up a 15-0 on each needle. Then my second color SuperDuo, because I'm using 2 colors. And I'm not crossing through the SuperDuo. I'm just going through it like this, with one needle going in one hole and then the other needle going through the other hole. Coming out of my SuperDuo again is going to be 15-0s on each needle. And then we're going to cross through an 11-0. Okay.
Listen up, beaders. This month's treasure box is a stunning collection with over $100 worth of premium beads, including gemstones, crystals, tulip beads, butterfly beads, and polished round beads, for as little as $29.99. That's up to 60% off retail, plus amazing welcome gifts for new subscribers, including a pearl collection, an additional treasure box, or even the ultimate beading kit. Subscribe now at PotomacBeads.com/subscribe.
Okay, now each time, now I forgot to do that on this one. So I'm going to show you on this one, and then off camera, I'm going to come back and sew to this one and, you know, add my extra beads. Well, not extra beads, but the other beads that are a part of this. Okay, so when we're coming out of our 11-0, sew back into your 15-0s, because we're still going to do some more decorating on the outside of our SuperDuo. Now, I could have gone on and continued, and we could have saved this on our next step. You can do that. I just rather do it now. So I'm coming out, I cross through all these beads, and I'm coming out of my one thread is coming out of one 15-0, and my other thread is coming out of my other 15-0. So what I'm going to add here now is another grouping of 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. And then again on my other needle, 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. And I'm going to go through all of these beads here. I'm not going to go through the SuperDuo. I'm going to go through the 15-0, the 11-0, oops, and then just tighten everything, the 15-0 that's before my SuperDuo, and then here I will come out of my SuperDuo. Once I've added, again, I'm coming out of my SuperDuo because I've already added my little beads that go here on the outside. So now I want to do that on this side. I want to add the little beads on this side of my SuperDuo. So I'm coming out of the 15-0. I'm going to go through the 15-0 on this side, the 11-0, and then I'm going to go through the 15-0 here. And then I'm just going to go down my SuperDuo. And then once I'm coming out of my SuperDuo here on both sides. And your thread will fix. Your beads will fix. Okay. I am going to go back through this little 15-0 and come out of my 11-0. So take your needle, and when you're coming out of the SuperDuo, come out through that little 15-0 that you added before those little 3 beads that we added just now. Go through that 15-0, the 11-0, so both of your threads should be coming out of that 11-0, and now you have decorated all around the outside of your SuperDuo. Okay, So I went ahead and I added the beads that I needed around this one. I did that off camera. And then my threads were too short anyway. So I went ahead and I tied them off and I added a new piece, and I'm coming out of my 11-0 up here, and I'm going to show you all this again. All right. So coming out of this 11-0 here where this connecting SuperDuo is, I'm going to pick up a 15-0 on each needle. So 15-0 on each one. And then another little crystal of our little 1.5 by 2 millimeter crystals. And then I'm going to cross through that. So once I've crossed through my crystal, and once I've crossed, now we can pick up our SuperDuos. So I'm just going to fix that and see. There we go. You can do this with one needle, which I did my other 2 bracelets with one needle. But since I'm picking up like all these beads here, I thought it would look really confusing. So, okay, so now I'm coming out of my crystal. Coming out of our crystal, we're going to pick up on each needle an 11-0. So I got an 11 on each one. And then our 3 SuperDuos, but they're going to be separated by a 15-0. So SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo, 15-0, SuperDuo. And then after coming out of our 3rd SuperDuo, we're going to pick up an 11-0. And I'm going to do that with this needle too. So I'm going to pick up my SuperDuos. And again, they are separated by a 15-0, and I love this lemon color. It's called Lemon Dark Travertine. I love this color. It's so pretty. And I like how it looks with blue. All right, so now I need to add my 11-0 after my last SuperDuo. Okay, so I added all my beads on both needles. And again, it is 11-0, 3 SuperDuos separated by a 15-0, and then an 11-0. And now we're going to cross through one of these little crystals again. So I picked up my little crystal, and now I am crossing through it. And then once we're coming out of this little crystal, we're going to add our little beads out on the other side of our crystal, which is 15 on each needle, and then crossing through an 11-0 again. So 15 on each needle, cross through the 11-0, and then now we're ready to add our little beads that go with our little SuperDuo, our little connecting SuperDuo. So it's going to be a 15-0 on each needle, a SuperDuo going in through your SuperDuo like this, and pulling. So I think by now you get what our first step is. And then coming out, I am actually going to pick up an 11-0, 15-0, an 11-0, and then I'm going to cross through it with my other needle. That way, that will make it easier to add our little beads on the outside, on the outside of our SuperDuo, and I just tangled everything. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so I got my beads here, and now I'm going to add a 15-0, an 11-0, and a 15-0 on each needle. And again, that is because we're decorating these ends of our SuperDuo, and then we're just going to cross through these here, and then just come out and end up coming out of our 11-0. So go ahead and finish this first step. I'm gonna do 7 till I have 7 of these little components with my SuperDuos, and I will finish with one of these little black SuperDuo components after my 7th one of my SuperDuo components. So I will meet you back. Okay, I'm back, and I finished making my little components. I have 7 of my SuperDuo components, and they're with a little black SuperDuo connecting section in between them. I started with one of those little connecting components, and I ended with it, and I also made my little loop on this side. So once you do that, just follow your thread path and sew all the way until you are coming out of your little rondelle here. I have a thread coming out on this side and another thread coming out on this side. So for this step, we're going to use our faceted RounTrios, and we're going to still be using our 15 seed beads. So coming out of our rondelle, and again, I'm going to do this on both sides. I'm going to do my left side first. Coming out of our rondelle, I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to pick up a faceted RounTrio, and I'm going to use one of the end holes, not the middle hole. We're not going to be using our middle hole for this project, just the 2 end holes. So pick one, and it's when you're coming out of that, pick up your next 15-0. So coming out of my rondelle, 15-0, faceted RounTrio, 15-0. And then I'm going to go through my rondelle over here on this side. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going in through the same side. And you don't want to catch your 15-0 before and after that rondelle, okay? So just the faceted RounTrio. And pull. Now on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I already have, well, you're not picking up the same thing because you're only picking up your faceted RounTrio once. So on goes a 15-0, and we're going to go through the other end hole of that same faceted RounTrio. And you're going to pull, and you're going to pick up another 15-0 after that, and you're going to go through, you're going to cross through your little rondelle there. So, and I'm pulling my thread now. So that's what you should have. And now, coming out of our rondelle, and we're going to do this on both sides again, but I'm going to do my left side first. I'm going to go through my 15-0 only, and I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s, and then I'm going to sew, and I'm going, well, I picked up my 4 15-0s coming out of this 15-0. Coming out, I picked up 4 15-0s. I'm going to go through this middle SuperDuo, this same hole, but I'm going to go through it like this, like away from me so that I could circle around it. Well, so I could circle around. So coming out my 15-0 here, picked up 4 15-0s, and then I'm going through my SuperDuo in this direction, so that will bring my 15-0s on top. Now I put 4 15-0s there, right? I'm going to go through my last 2 15-0s. And I hope I'm in frame. Yes, I am. Going through the last 2 15-0s. I'm just going to put my finger here so that I can pull and tighten everything. I'm just gonna push those two 15-0s that I went through together. Okay, so there are my 4 15-0s, and I've kind of locked them in place now by going through that SuperDuo. And now I'm going to pick up 2 more 15-0s, and I'm going to go down to my 15-0 here, the one I added when I added my faceted RounTrio. And then I'm going to go through this rondelle again, out, again. And I'm just going to wait there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so I'm coming out of my rondelle here. I'm going to go through my 15-0. I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s. And now I'm going to go through, I'm coming out here like this, and I'm going to go through this SuperDuo in this direction. And through that same hole, we're not using that outer hole yet of our SuperDuo. And that same hole. Through the SuperDuo only, do not catch your 15-0 before or after your SuperDuo. My hand's in the way, but I'm only pulling. Now, once I'm coming out of my SuperDuo, and I'm just gonna hold everything and pull tight, I'm gonna go through my last 2 15-0s from the 4 that I just picked up. I'm gonna hold everything, and I'm going to pull my thread. I'm just gonna push everything together. And now I'm gonna pick up 2 more 15-0s. I'm going to go down my 15-0 that I just added with my faceted RounTrio. I'm going to go through my rondelle. I'm going to hold everything and pull. And now I need to make my way to my second little component. All right, so you can see my little 15-0s that I added. So now I'm coming out of my rondelle. I'm going to go through that first 15-0, the one that we added when we added our faceted RounTrio. I'm going to go through that one 15-0. I'm going to go through my faceted RounTrio. And then I'm going to go through the 15-0 that I added when I added my RounTrio, just the one. I'm going to sew through my rondelle, and I'm just following my thread paths. I'm just sewing down until I get to my next component, and I'm going to do all that again. So go ahead and add all of your 15-0s that go over your faceted RounTrio, following your thread paths to get to your next component, and I will meet you back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm going to move my little 15-0s to the side. I'm done with them for now, but I've already added all of my 15-0s on here on the sides of my faceted RounTrio. So what I did now is I just made my way. Once I finished up, I followed my thread paths and I sewed. I finished up and I sewed. Once I got here to this little 11-0, I just crossed, and now I'm coming down. So I'm coming out of, you know how you added your 15-0, 11-0, 15-0 here on the sides of my SuperDuos? You need to be coming out of that 15-0, of that little grouping. So I'm coming out of my 15-0s here on both sides. You can see my string. So from here, we're going to add, okay, well, I put my 15-0s away. We don't need our 15-0s, but we do need our 11-0s and our little, I am using, these are also rondelles, and these are 2x3 rondelles. Okay, and let me see. They're 2x3 rondelles, but you can also use the smaller ones, the really, really small ones, and then put a 15-0, put the rondelles, and then go back and put a 15-0 after the rondelles before the SuperDuos. So the ones I'm using are 2x3 rondelles. All right, so I'm coming out here in my 15-0s. I'm gonna pick up 2 11-0s. I don't want the really thin ones. Okay. And now we're going to go through our other hole of our SuperDuo. And then here, we're going to add a crystal. You can also use pearls, probably a 2mm pearl. You can also use 8/0s. You can also use just regular smooth beads, round smooth beads, 2mm. Okay, so I added a crystal here and another one here, and I'm coming out of my third little SuperDuo here. I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, and again, I'm going to pick up that little center grouping of 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. And I'm coming out of the 11-0, I need to pick up the 15-0 after it. So you can tell which one it is, because it is the 15-0 before the 11-0 that's right here sticking out, and it's the 15-0 after that 11-0. Okay, so now coming out of that 15-0 goes 2 more 11-0s, going through your next little component here, the SuperDuos. And once again, I'm going to pick up a little crystal and then go through this SuperDuo, pick up another little crystal, and then go through this SuperDuo here. And I'm just gonna hold on to this and pull. Now I'm coming out of this SuperDuo here, the third one of that component, and once again goes 2 11-0s, and you're going to pick up again that little grouping here on the side of the 15-0, 11-0, 15-0. Now I'm going to do a couple on the other side. All right, so that's what we have, and I love this red with that yellow and that blue. So coming out goes 2 11-0s. Put some here on the side. Go in through your SuperDuo. Now, whoops, I already had some crystals there. I'm going to pick up a little crystal. I'm going to go through this SuperDuo, my middle one. And then that's just a little tail thread I have there. And then here goes another crystal. And then now here goes 2 11-0s. And once again, I'm going to pick up that little grouping. The 15-0, the 11-0, and the 15-0 after that 11-0. That's another little tail thread. That's from the thread that I started with, that little piece. Just move that out of the way. All right, and now coming out of that grouping, whoops, I just put 1 11-0. I'm gonna have to back out. Okay, but you get what I'm doing, right? You do the 2 11-0s, go through the SuperDuo, put in a crystal, another crystal. Coming out of the SuperDuo goes 2 11-0s, and then you go through that little grouping on the side of your SuperDuo that has the 15-0, 11-0, and 15-0. So I'm just backing out so I can put in my other 11-0. It must have fallen out of my thread. So go ahead and do this all the way down. and then I will show you what to do next. Okay, so I've already finished adding my crystals and my 11-Os, and my thread is very long. Both of my threads are very long, so I'm just going to use one thread for this last step because I've already gone through all these end seed beads a bunch of times, and I'm using size 8 thread. So since my thread is very long, I'm just going to use one thread, but you can continue to use your 2 needles. I'm just going to use one thread to go down this side and then back this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my way. I'm going to sew. I'm coming out here. I'm going to sew down this little 15-0 after that 11-0, again from that grouping that's on the sides of our SuperDuo. I'm going to go down these 2 11-Os that I just added for my previous step. And now I'm going to sew up to where I get to the crystal. And just have to go through these beads one at a time. Okay, so now I want to sew to my crystal. And here I'm going to add, now on this one, since I used smaller crystals, these are really tiny. I just added a 15-0 after my crystal, went through the SuperDuo, came out of the SuperDuo, added another 15-0, and then went through my crystal. And then I sewed along till I got to my next one. But again, that's because I use these really, really teeny tiny crystals. On this one, these are like the ones I'm using right now. Looks like it. Yeah, I think these are either 2x3, 2x3 Rondelles, which I don't think they're Rondelles. They might be Rondelles or they might be rounds. I can't tell. But they're bigger. So I added those, and then when I came out of my crystal, I just added 3 15-Os, went to my next crystal, sewed down till I got to my next crystal. And I didn't go through the SuperDuo in between my crystals. I went from crystal, seed beads to crystal, and then sewed down till I got my next one. But again, because these crystals are bigger. These are, I think these are as big as those. I thought I reached for my 1.5 by 5, by 2, but I will go back and double check and then let you know at the end of the video. All right, so I'm going to pick up 3 15-Os and I'm going to go through my next crystal. And then I'm just going to pull, and that will put my little seed beads right there. And now I'm going to go through my SuperDuo and through these 2 11-Os here that I just added. And again, through that little grouping that I was connecting my 11-Os to. So it's a 15-O, an 11-O, and a 15-O. And then after that, again, I'm going to come upon my 2 little 11-Os after this 15-O. These 2 little 11-Os. And then up. Okay, I'm going to go through one at a time. Don't force it. Don't force it. All right. Now I will go through my SuperDuo. And then now I will go through my crystal. And the thing is, I did not keep the label of my crystals. I just put them in these little nifty containers, but I did not label them, and I did not keep the little labels, but they were with my 1.5 by 2 rondelles, so that's why I think that's what they are, but they're a little bit bigger, but that's okay. They still work. You just have to do things a little bit different than like I showed you with this one. But as I said, you don't have to use crystals there. You can also use like, little pearls. Either a 2mm pearl. A 2mm pearl would probably give you the effect like this one. A 3mm pearl will probably look more like this one. All right, now I'm coming out of that 11-0, and I'm going to go through this 15-0 after it. And also the good thing about this step is you're reinforcing everything that you just added, like these little 11-0s here on the side. Ooh. All right, now I'm going to go through those 11-0s. And then my SuperDuo, and then I'm going to make it to my crystal. And then I will add my little 3 15-0s and go from crystal to crystal. So go ahead and finish the step, and I will show you what our finished piece looks like. And I will also, there we go, make sure that I don't tangle myself. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then I will meet you back and show you what my finished bracelet looks like. Be right back. Okay, so here is my finished piece. This is how my bracelet looks on, and I really like it. I think it looks rather rustic, and I like that. I like rustic jewelry. And here's the other one that I made. I used similar colors on this one, and I think this one's pretty too. Again, these are smaller crystals, and these are 1.5 by 5. 1.5 by 2, and these are 2 by 3 rondelles. So, and for this one, I used an infinite clasp, and I think it looks beautiful with that. And then on this one, I used a Potomac toggle. So this is what I have. This bracelet does have a few passes to it, but they're all easy. I don't think they're difficult. And I'm just gonna go in a little bit. And so I hope you enjoy making this. And again, you can do different things here on the side. You don't have to use crystals. You can use little pearls. You can use 8/0s. So they don't necessarily have to be crystals. They don't have to be rondelles. You can also use rounds. And so yeah, this is what I have. And I hope you enjoy making this. And also, I did use a size 8 thread for this one, and I like how it feels with the size 8. And but if you use size 8, use a size 12 needle, because it is going to get tight, especially around the ends, because we go through these beads quite a lot to, cross over to get to our other side of our bracelet. So it's going to get snug. You can also use a size 6. A size 6 dragon thread would definitely work, and that is also one of my favorite threads. You will need to reinforce this bracelet a few times if you do use the size 6, but again, you're going to get a lovely piece at the end when you're done. Okay, so this is what I have. I hope you enjoy making this, and thank you very much for watching.